Hey, Gadget Guy Addict here. So today I am looking at, the brand is Kaptron, and this is a single hammock. It's supposed to be a complete set. It's got the straps. I can feel the buckles down in here. So we're gonna go ahead and hang this. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what this is a turtle dog, and it's just a homemade version of a hammock stand for your backyard that you can close up and put away. I didn't want to put a bunch of stakes out here, or posts actually. But anyway, so one thing that I did do on this over some of the other YouTube videos that you might find about the turtle dog hammock stand is I added an additional pole in the middle to expand this out. Originally when I made this, I made it for a 13-foot long, and that works perfect when we're going to sleep on these. And most of your hammocks are anywhere from 11 to 12 feet is where they max out. So we end up hanging a hammock without any major issues, works great. But when I want to do a review for you, you really can't see how much rope and this, that, and the other that you need. So what I end up doing is I put this extension piece in so you can really see, is this worth it? You know, the length of it, the straps, etc. So stick with me. We're gonna walk my way through this and see how it hangs and see how useful it is. And then we'll, after the fact, I'll go ahead and measure this and take some good photos so that you can see more of the details that you can't see from this distance. But watch me hang this up, and we'll see how it ends up being. All right, so one of the things that I've done on this stand is I put eye bolts on the end so that I could hang things through. So when I use a rope or anything like this, or a strap, I'll just put it through the eye bolt, and then that way it won't go anywhere. Now these work great through the eye bolt. The straps work great through the clips. So just to make things even and fair, I'm going to go ahead and hang it through the clip, and then we'll let that one dangle. We'll do the other one over here, and then I'll pull out the hammock itself. Sorry for putting my back to you, but sometimes it just makes more sense. So let me stand on the other side, and we'll yard this thing out and drape it. So the first thing I've noticed, this is pretty lightweight. Like I say, I'll measure this at the end, and the material seems very light. I'm sure it'll hold up fine. It does not appear to be ripstop, but we'll get into the details after we get this hanging. So first thing I do is just drape this over so that it'll hang. Now there's literally almost the same clips that I have for my stand are on here. And from my recollection on these hold up to 600 pounds per. It might even be 800 pounds. I'll have to double check, but I buy mine at Lowe's. I don't know where they bought theirs, but I'm pretty sure it's almost the exact same thing. So pretty good as far as holding on to stuff. Now we've got quite a distance. Actually, I'm going to lay this on the ground so I can figure out how far I need to go and if this is even going to work with my extension in. All right, so it doesn't look like it's going to work with the extension, so we're going to have to tie these off, and we'll just try and get a square knot here. Hopefully I can do this right the first time. Yeah, it'll work. Okay. And then the other end, I'm going to guesstimate this probably about here. Now, I can tell you my first complaint on a hammock like this is the attachments. The hammock may be great, but I don't care for this type of attachment. They're difficult to set up, and once you do get them set up, there's so much extra you have to go through to adjust it and back and forth. I just don't care for it. I'm a big fan of straps, so I'll be switching this immediately over to straps and not using the manufacturer included cordage, because this is not a fun way to go. I can tell you that right now. All right, now turns out I got this thing backwards, so we're going to just roll it over. There we go. All right, so they have used same kind of cordage over here is on the end of the hammock. And I'll show you a video. Don't worry too much that you can't see from where you're at. All right, so right about there is probably going to work best for us. And this is where I can never remember, right over left, left over right, etc. And I messed that up, and I'm sure, yep, I did. So we're going to go over the top here. We'll get this straightened out. All right, roughly speaking, that looks like it's hanging pretty close. I'm not going to worry about it too much, getting it perfect, because I don't plan on hanging in it too long. And of course I made a slip knot, so we'll have to all right, we'll tie this the other way and get it hung on here. All right, there we go. That'll work. And I got a good square knot this time. Okay, so I am going to be on the ground with this one. After giving it a little leverage, I can see that we're going to need to tie this up even further. I can see the answer why. I made a slip knot on this end too, so. All right, and a quick tie on this end. Hopefully we'll get this right again and get a square knot in there. All right, that's a square knot. This is a slip knot. You know, I've had about 28 years, give or take, of learning how to tie a knot. No, I'm not 28 years old, but I've had 28 years since I was originally in the Navy, where they did teach us how to tie a few knots, and you'd think I would get that one right. But it normally takes me the second try to do it. In this case, maybe 3 or 4 or something of that nature. So it looks like we got insanity going on, because as I try and tie the knot, I do the exact same thing each time, and somehow I thought I was going to get a different result. There we go. All right, now quick push on this. All right, looks like our knots are going to hold. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get in this and check out the comfort level. And I can tell you, because it's a single, I like singles for the simplicity factor. And it looks like I still screwed up my knot. Try this again. I'm just going to tie it up here and hope for the best, I guess. There we go, slip knot or not. There we go. All right. Worst case is, if the knot doesn't hold, you get to see something funny happen. Okay, we're back. I had to shorten my stand back up, so obviously that's just too long of a distance. I would have put it about 15 and a half, almost 16 feet. So if, just in case you're wondering, you'll learn from my mistake that it's too far. The pole will bend and that won't work. Thanks, airplane. All right, so back to what we were doing here. So what I did was, I've got this through the clip, and I'm just gonna drape it through the clip one time on this end. And I can tell you, one of the things that I just don't care for these nylon type ropes is as I goofed up the tying and these all slid, I ended up with melted spots on the rope. So the wear and tear on them is terrible. Again, I'm not a big fan of using the nylon like this. I mean, there's stretch involved in it. Once I sat in it, these pieces right here stretched. If you mess up the rope, then it stretches. One of the other issues that you can run into is that as you're doing this, if you get it too tight, you can't get the dang thing undone, which means if it's wrapped around a tree, you're really gonna struggle. So here's what I'm gonna do different on this one. So I tied a knot and I put my hook in it, and I'm gonna slide this knot up a bit. Okay, and then I'm gonna pull it tight. And just for safety, I'll put one more loop on it so it doesn't fall. I know it's gonna stretch. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna redo this one. I'm gonna do the exact same thing on this end, because to me it just makes more sense, and it's a little quicker. All right, so quick measurement here. All right, we're pretty close. Now, because this is shorter, I'm going to need this a little higher. And I probably ought to even this out a little bit. But again, you don't care if I hung it correctly, you care if it's comfortable and if it holds correctly. So we'll worry about that. And if I was going to go sleep in it, I'd hang it correct to the right angles. All right, so not too bad. Get on the right side here. I kind of look at hammocks as like mounting a horse. I always get in on the correct side. All right, so my ropes seem to be holding. They slid a little bit into the knots. And in we go. Kick my shoes off. You know, first time being in this hammock, so I don't want to get it all dirty. Hate to have to wash my hammock just because I put it in the backyard. All right. All right, feet hanging out. Dirty feet it looks like. Not too bad. Okay. I'd say the comfort level is decent. Now I'm laying straight in it. I'm sure you can see that from the camera view. But let me try a side angle lay and see how comfortable that is. Yep, not too bad. A little hot and humid out here, so I need a little airflow to make this very enjoyable hang in a hammock. But yeah, not too bad. For a single, I would say this is pretty decent. It's got the triple stitching where it's connected right in here. The top edge has been single stitched, and that's nice. It looks like triple stitching on the ends where it's gathered. So for a gathered hammock, this is pretty nice. Not being a ripstop nylon, the only issue I see with that is that if you get any kind of hole or anything, you're gonna fall right through this thing, and so it won't last in that area. But if I remember correctly, it's about a $30 hammock, and not a bad way to get yourself started. Maybe replace it in a year or two just from wear and tear, and if you start getting holes or something in it. But personally, if you take good care of your hammock, I think you'll be all right from a wear and tear standpoint. If you're not getting in it too dirty, not putting things in your pockets that might puncture it, you know, like having your pocket knife or something in there. But nice hammock for the money. I think it's a good deal. Now, material-wise, it's smooth enough. I think a wash would make this comfortable to lay in. Right now, I wouldn't call it abrasive, but it's you know, it's that new finish, so it's not the most comfortable piece. And if you can hear the creaking, that's because of the way this stand is built, so that you can collapse it up. There's only a single bolt that holds these in, and I can show you briefly, but not a huge issue. But that's what the creaking's all about. All right, so let me go ahead and take the camera off and show you some of the finer details of this. Okay, so we're back, and I just want to show you the buckles, how they work or how they look. Say it's just a standard buckle. See if we can't get this to focus correctly. There we go. It's using the nylon to gather it on the ends. That's okay. If you're looking for lightweight and strong, I would switch this out. This hasn't been one of the best ways, but it is a very useful way to do a low-cost hammock. And some of your higher-end hammocks will change that out. I just looped it over, and so to explain the part I was talking about, here's the buckle that I use, very similar to the buckle that they have used. So I would give it probably at least a 600-pound rating. That is a guesstimate, so don't hold me to that. If you're over 6, you're not going to make it anyway, because the hammock's going to give out because it's rated for 4. And the squeaking, you can see here, there's a single bolt on a hinge, so I can cover this in another review. All right, back down to the hammock. So we've got down here triple stitching on the gathered end. That's nice. Single stitch seems to be okay. Yeah, it looks like a little bit of work where they went back across it there, but not a big deal. Triple stitch where it's joined. Nice. And then the bag, like I said, I had this backwards for the camera, but the bag is just big enough to hold everything. And as a complete system, I think not a bad deal to get yourself started. There are a variety of different types of hammocks out there and different ways to do it. But if you're getting started and you just want to be in a hammock and be out camping, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by this one. And like I say, this is Kaptron Hammock Company. Let me get a little view here there. nice hammock overall. All right, so we looked at the Kaptron hammock, and this is a single hammock, good for up to 400 pounds. I think quality-wise, it's above board. You know, it seems to be done well. Stitching, everything's done nicely. I would say as an overall hammock, it's kind of in the middle. But that's the difference between, you know, what is your high-end price, you know, let's say $100 down to the $30 and $40 range. For the $30 and $40 range, I think it meets all the requirements you're going to need in order to be out in the outdoors in a hammock. If you're looking for, wow, I really want tie outs and all the extras and lighter weight, different buckles and all those things, you can change that stuff. And it's not too difficult. You'll spend a few dollars, but I think you'll still be under that $100 mark that you'll find with, say, a Hammock or a E&O version. So if you get the E&O version, they're running around $80 or so. Sometimes you can find them in $70, depending on which model you're going with. But bottom line is if you're $70 and under, you're going to find this is a great hammock. If you're $70 and over, I think that you'll find some of the features of other hammocks you might enjoy better. That's a personal choice. I have the range from the 30 all the way up. Actually, I think I have a $20 hammock. Not too keen on that one, but anyway. So bottom line is good hammock for the money. You're going to find it's a decent purchase. I think it'll last you a couple years if you take care of it and make sure you wash it and don't leave a lot of dirt and stuff in it after your trips. If you carry things in your pockets, your keys, stuff like that, you probably poke a hole in it, and then you might find yourself sitting on the ground like I did earlier, but for a totally different reason. So this is Gadget Guy Addict. I really appreciate you watching. So if you would, go ahead and leave me some comments down below. And if you like my channel, please go ahead and subscribe. And if there's anything that you're interested in me reviewing, leave me some comments. I'd be happy to check that out and see what I can do for you. I get a variety of things throughout the week and throughout the month, and you never know what's going to be in my box next week. So drop me a line and let me know what you're looking for. Feel free to check out my website if you are more of a person that likes to have all the details about something. You can find the reviews there also. All right, so for some reason my audio went out here, but I'm just about ready to fall on the ground, and oh, there I go. So just thought I'd give you this little blooper at the end of this. Needless to say, about 15 feet or so of that pole is not going to work for this design, so you got to keep it at the 13 foot or less for it all to work out. But anyway, so I take a couple minutes to pull this thing apart, rebend it, unbend it, etc., and finally get that thing apart. And that's where you saw me pick up the video earlier. So anyway, a lot of fun that afternoon, but just thought I'd share that with you.